back. We are continuing with the series today where we are looking at how to have a successful life, and we're speaking specifically about education. And the breakdown of education in the world is something that we've all seen. We've seen it in our countries, we've seen it everywhere. In Islam, education is very, very important. We have been told to read. We have been commanded, first thing we've been commanded to do is read. And obviously when we start to read, we can write after we write, we can speak after we speak, we can transmit this knowledge onto other people. So it's something that needs to be taken forward. It's very, very important. In Islam, it is extremely important to be clever, to be smart. And in Christianity, we don't see the same thing. In fact, the whole idea of the Garden of Eden story that is recorded in the Bible, we find that in the book of Genesis, where it talks about the creation, in fact, encourages people to be stupid, to remain dumb. And it is a curse by the devil for you to have intellect. If we remember from the biblical story, we have Adam and Eve in the garden, and the snake says to them, God told you not to eat of this tree because you'll become intelligent, and he doesn't want you to be intelligent. So in Islam, it is the total opposite. We want you to be smart, we want you to be clever, we want you to gain an education, not to be dumb and stupid, but to be smart and intelligent, for you to have a system that will help you for the rest of your life to be a benefit to society and not a burden on society. But there is a breakdown of our life support system in Islam. There is a breakdown of the life support system in Islam in education. The system of life that we have contains worship, it contains justice, it contains legislation and administration, it contains moral values for the family and society. It is the way we project ourselves in the media and the way we project ourselves on television and other avenues, and the way we deal with economics. We find that there is a breakdown, there is a power struggle in all these avenues within Islam. There are economic powers, there are political powers. All four of these things we have in society are being broken down by people who are not educating themselves about these specific avenues. We don't understand a lot about the political powers or the economic powers that people are using today in society to break down the life support system of Islam. When we look at, for example, the Ummah as we see it today in the world, we see that we are standing at an intersection. We are standing at the crossroads. You know when you get to an intersection, a crossroads in the road, and you can either go left or right or straight forward, or you can go backwards. And the Ummah is like that today. We are sitting here not knowing where we are supposed to be going. We're not sure if we should be going forward or we should be going backwards. Today we have lost our identity as Muslims. We don't see ourselves as Muslims. We don't have Muslim as our first name. We see ourselves in society more as a prefix. You know, one of the saddest things in society today is when we see that people are following more the teachings of the prefix than they are following the teachings of the Quran or the Hadith. People will quote their scholars who are 400 or 500 or 600 years old, then they will quote the Hadith or the Quran. We're living in a society today where the Muslim Ummah is falling apart, which seems to be collapsing. A similar situation was around during the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. The Jews and the Christians were claiming that they were the heirs and controllers of the faith that was around. And so when Islam came along, they didn't want to allow Islam into the scene. And so we see the Muslims were persecuted in the beginning. There are in the Quran many lessons that we can learn from where the Christians and the Jews made their errors, and how we as the Muslim Ummah can learn from their errors. Even though they tried to destroy Islam in the beginning, Muslims were told not to destroy the Christian and the Jew. We were told to live in peace with them. Unlike what the media is trying to tell you today, that Muslims are out to get you. This is not true. We have been given in Islam a way to live our lives in peace and harmony with those of other faiths and those of other religious persuasions. The main cause for the defragmentation of Islam is because we do not understand what we as Muslims are supposed to follow. We do not understand the fiqh. We do not understand the hadith. We do not understand the Quran. We have turned things upside down. We first follow what the madhabs teach before we look at what the hadith or the Quran teaches. Instead of looking first at what the Quran teaches, then seeing what the hadith teaches, then seeing what the early predecessors taught, then having a look at what the later scholars, or the mazhabs, as some people would say in India, are teaching. We need to turn the whole situation the other way around. We've turned it upside down. And people are proud of it today. People are proud of the fact that they follow the madhab before they follow what the Quran or the hadith are teaching. Therefore, we have to be careful that we are not following the scholarly interpretations, then the Quran. We should rather be following the Quran, the hadith, and then the scholarly interpretations. We need to get the order right. We must be careful that we are not, as people who are teaching, those people who have gained knowledge, still remaining and teaching people archaic things or keeping people in the dark ages. We need to move them forward. The formula that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has given us. We need to make sure that we are not being a community that is pulling down Islam, but are actually helping Islam move forward to become something greater than it is at the moment. If we look at Islam throughout the world, we are finding that it is a poor reflection of what it was. It seems as if, and I'm not saying this is exactly as it is, I'm saying it seems, from the perspective of where I am looking from the country that I live in, that Islam is still stuck in Spain. We have never left Spain. Remember how powerful Islam was before it went to Spain? And then it became very stagnant. Time is changing now. We need to get back into the education field. We need to move back and start doing the things that we are supposed to be doing. We need to become people who understand that science and Islam and science are essentials for us to move forward. We need to be people who do not lack knowledge and are not blindly following things that they have no idea of what they are teaching. We need to use a rationale. We need to become more rational people, not pure rationale, because there's a lot of people using pure rationale. These are like the atheists and the modernists and so-called modern science. We don't want to do that because you've got to be very careful of humanism. Humanism is a recipe for failure in life. Many people will say, you know, Islam is a humanist religion. It's not a humanist religion. What humanism is teaching is very, very dangerous, that we do not need a God, that we do not need to follow the teachings that Allah has given us. We have seen that we are living in a world full of tsunamis. And I'm not just talking about the tsunamis that have ravished Japan over the last few years, but I'm talking about the external tsunamis that we as Muslims are facing in our day-to-day lives. The threat from within and the threat from without. There is a global war, not on terrorism, not on Islam, but on the education system within Islam. They are not worried about some crazy radical screaming that they must kill everybody. They will let that person into America. They will let that person into the UK because everyone can point their cameras at that person and go, see, here is a crazy radical. But if a scholar wants to go into America or a scholar wants to go into UK, you find that person being banned because there is an attack on education that he is bringing. He has never once spoken about blowing up buildings or hurting people or killing anyone, but that person was on the banned list. Why is he on the banned list? Because they do not want, there is an attack, there is a global war on people thinking about educating people. You are far more dangerous if you're educating people about Islam in a sensible way than some radical person burning flags and doing crazy things. There is a worldwide attack on you getting an education as a Muslim. And this is why you need to submit to Allah. This is why you have to beg Allah to allow you to continue in your education so that you can become a student of knowledge, that you can become a student not only in the classroom, but in your school, outside of your school, in your community, everywhere that you go, that you are able somehow to give the people around you knowledge about what Islam is all about. So this is why knowledge and education are so important in Islam. So in this series, we've covered the basics. The first part of the series, we've been dealing with our spiritual structure, and now we have just completed looking at the educational structure with Islam. And next time, inshallah, we'll be moving on to the next secret on how to have a successful life as a Muslim. And so until next time, make sure you tune in again, bring your pen and paper, and be prepared to learn a little bit more about what Islam is all about. So from me, Arib Islam, until next week, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Glory be to Allah, all praise to Allah. There is no God but Allah. Allah is great. All power and might belong to Allah, the Most High, the Great.